Hey there guys, and thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. So I've received a few questions more recently, more so on Instagram, about how to program and bench press more for beginners. So this is what I did in my much earlier days of training, and I found it works really quite well. And with some of the people who I have coached, it's also worked quite well for them. So what I suggest on doing, this is what I've done. I found 4 sets of 10 and starting at a weight that you can get comfortably. So for instance, if you could get a set of 10 at 100 kg and you can just get the 10th, what I'd suggest doing is starting at 90 kilos or even 85 for 4 sets of 10. So you might do that on the Monday. And then on the Thursday, you do a lighter session, more dumbbell and shoulder work. Next Monday comes along, add 2.5 kilos, so 87.5, 4 sets of 10. Each Monday, you're adding 2.5 kilos to your working sets, and the goal is to push it until you can no longer get a set of 10. So you might get 4 or 5 weeks down the line, and you might be getting 3 sets of 10 and a set of 8. The session after that, you might get 2 sets of 10, a set of 8, and a set of 6. And you keep going until your first set, you can only get 9 reps. So if you were able to get that 100 for a set of 10, you'll probably find that you'll be able to get 107, 110, possibly 112.5 for a single set of 10. And the next week, obviously, you've missed it at say 115. So what I then do is I take 15 or so kilos off and start the process again. Go back to the 4 sets of 10 and you continue to use that strategy over and over and over. Now, the reason why I take 15 or so kilos off, that's sort of like a self-imposed deload. You can take a little bit more off if you wish, and in those first 6 or 7 weeks where you're playing catch up to get back to where you were, one, you'll actually get stronger because you only got 1 set of 10. You'll probably find you'll end up getting 2 or 3 sets before where you could only just say get the 1. In those 6 and 7 weeks, on your Thursday session, for example, that's when you start to really emphasize some of your shoulder and tricep work. You can go a lot heavier and harder on those simply because your Monday session not as spent or burnt out from the previous week. That's what I've found worked really quite well. And for me, I used that strategy basically until I could get 140 for sets of 10. Like, it's a good beginner's program. And when I say beginners, basically if you're not a powerlifter, if you're like a bodybuilder or anyone who strength trains just in general, you'll find that is a really sound method just to use over and over and over again. You don't have to think too much, just stick to the basics. I just found that 4 sets of 10 just worked really well, and your accessory movements were literally your dumbbell shoulder press, some tricep extensions. You'll do some rows, obviously on your Thursdays and other days. Incorporate squats, deadlifts. Just be mindful of overall tax on the body because that is going to determine how well you recover. And as you know, recovery is the only way you're going to get stronger long term. But I found 2 sessions a week worked really quite well, Monday and Thursday, and I did that for ages, like years and years and years. By the time September, October of this year rolls around, this will be my 12th year competing in powerlifting. And I kid you not, I probably used that program for a good 6 to 7 years, and I just used it as a beginner's program in essence, just because it's so effective. And later on, if you're then hopping on the platform in powerlifting and competing, we'd move to more intermediate to advanced programming where we're focusing more on actual strength. This I found worked really well simply because you also got the size, muscle hypertrophy, and the sheer amount of reps. That's the other factor. When you're doing 4 sets of 10, that's 40 reps every session plus your warm-ups. And same on Thursday where you're doing, say, 4 sets of 10 again, you're just doing it at a lighter weight. So if you want to incorporate all your warm-ups and everything, you're probably hitting 100 reps a week on bench. 10 weeks later, there's 1,000 reps. It takes about 1,000 or so reps to ingrain a movement pattern. So you can imagine after 2-3 years, your movement pattern in this exercise is going to be really quite efficient and effective. And that is the key for also long-term gains in strength. You just got to practice that skill over and over and over again, and you just become more efficient, more comfortable under weight, which is just going to help transfer into a better press at the end of the day as well. So that is what I would suggest if you're a beginner. If you have any other questions or anything like that, just comment below. If you haven't found the video useful, hit like and subscribe, and feel free to send in any other questions below. Thank you for tuning into my channel.